Hey there, and welcome into the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production. You can come and visit us anytime at the Capital PTBO, 370 George Street North, or online at thecapitalptbo.ca. Coming up on the program today, the Petes have a historic run. Did the Leafs make the right call ditching Dubas, and is it time for LeBron James to walk away? All of that and a heck of a lot more. We have our Mano-y-Mano challenge. I think you're going to like the topic on this one, too. Tried to be a little bit more mainstream. Matt Latour is up in the penalty box. My man, Mark Millian, sitting right across from me. What's going on? How are you?
Hello, Jack Armstrong.
You're very loud.
In relation to what? Because in my headphone, like I normally subscribe to your
You want
theory.
some juice? You want some juice? There we go.
I normally subscribe to I do enjoy the headphones being loud. I apologize if that sounded Go Leafs go-ish. Anyways.
I often say Jordan's the loudest man on the planet, but on this show he's second loudest because like you got the booming voice. It's tough.
Anyhow, I don't know how to take that. Things are great. You know, weather's good.
Mm-hmm.
Golf season's on the way.
Mm-hmm.
If not on the way, it's already
Sure.
started at many of the...
How often do you golf a year?
Not as much as I should. When I was younger, I certainly did. We made a case of going, I would certainly say, every week. I had a couple of friends of mine that were members at LifeLock. This is when we're like middle teen years. And we'd, like, if it was a Saturday or a Sunday for that matter, like we'd play through 3-4 times all the time. It was great. Never
have your own PGA Championship, 72 holes. Let's go.
No, but four of my friends do that now. It's called the Scepter Slam, where they play 4 different courses, 4 different days. And Sean Smith was the winner this year. Congratulations, Sean.
Gold jacket, green jacket?
No, they got a Capital PTBO hat.
Nice.
That's what are you laughing about?
That's wonderful. I love that you did this.
That wasn't a joke.
No, and I know.
Hey? I'm
A little condescending over there.
I'm here to amuse you.
Jeez.
Anyways.
What, I'm funny? Like I make you laugh?
Yeah.
No. It's wonderful they got a Capital PTBO
You're a big
hat
boy.
as
You know what you
reward.
said. Anyhow. They did. Shawnee got a Scepter Slam hat, and
Nice.
he's never worn it. So it probably has a prominent piece on his mantle.
Well, speaking of golf, we're going to chat with my main man. We got a special guest today, Jodie Jenkins, the golf guy.
Yes.
And he's going to join us. We're going to talk about a very cool tournament that you're going to want to travel to go and check out. You don't need to go that far. All you need to do is go down to the Quinte region. We'll bring details on that. But before we do that, a reminder that what we do is not possible without the help of our good friend Brian Goldfinger of Goldfinger Personal Injury Law. Brian dedicates his practice exclusively on the behalf of accident claimants, disability claimants, and their families. He is a plaintiff-first personal injury lawyer through and through and does not accept work on behalf of insurance companies. If you get hurt, make sure you call Goldfinger Personal Injury Law at 877-730-1777 or check it out, goldfingerlaw.com. Also, a shout out to all of our loyal subscribers on Patreon. Check us out, patreon.com/capitalptbo. Before we spin the wheel of Win Nothing, Mark, why might someone be interested in joining up on Patreon?
So if you go to patreon.com/capitalptbo, you'll see that there's 4 different tiers, and each tier incrementally goes up in price, but also goes up in terms of your exposure to the show. At the top end, it's $20 a month, but you get exclusive discounts here to items that we have in the store, as well as exclusive invitations to events that we also put on from time to time, and interviews that we do here on the show.
All right, Matty, it is time to spin the wheel of Win Nothing, proudly supported by Flash Freeze Candy Company. Let's give that a whirl over there.
Let's give it a spin. Who doesn't have a win yet? Brandon Terrio?
Brandon is the newest, the latest and greatest, yes.
As we say it, Brandon Terrio picks up win number 1.
There you go, B. I told you we would, not engineer one for you, but we willed it into existence. Congratulations. Thanks for your continued support, everybody. Capital PTBO.
That felt as rigged as the NHL draft lottery.
Well,
What just happened?
There was no frozen envelope, no Sam Bowie, Michael Jordan's nonsense,
No.
but...
Great stuff. That's the Wheel of Win Nothing. It is brought to you by Flash Freeze Candy Company. I mentioned this off the hop. There's an opportunity. I'm going to read this right from inquinty.ca.
Okay.
Endless Summer announces exciting partnership. This was done by Brock Ormond. An opportunity to appear on the global stage is up for grabs for some of the best long drive golfers in the world. Organizer of the Endless Summer Golf Tournament, Jodie Jenkins, has announced a groundbreaking partnership with World Long Drive. We'll get into more details on that. The participant who wins the two-day event will receive an exclusive exemption into the World Championship taking place in October in Atlanta, Georgia. More details on this collaboration will be released in the coming days. The event is set to run July 5th and 6th at Trillium Wood Golf Club and will feature an outdoor concert by the Abrams. So this is like you're going to go and enjoy yourself and then have some drinks and some food and some music at night.
That sounds terrific. You know what I picture there? And I don't want to do any disrespect because I'm not familiar with the Abrams or even the facility as to which Jodie's organized it at, but
It's beautiful.
that sounds like a Catalina wine mixer type vibe.
It's highfalutin. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, I'm already there.
Now, I got to ask you, Jodie Jenkins, the golf guy, is there any way you can retrieve my 56 wedge that was lost at Trillium Golf when we played there a couple of years ago?
Yeah, you know what's funny is that I still have people out looking for that. So
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. Who was it that I'm trying to think of what hole you lost that on? I remember asking the starter or the marshal for some help, but
So I lost it. I think it might have been even hole 1 or 2. And then I went to some individuals who were behind us, and they insisted that the ranger had picked it up.
oh yeah.
And
Was that the same round that we played when we got paired up with that interesting gentleman on the first hole?
That was exactly right. We were starting off, and they paired us because we were just a twosome. So they said, actually, I think Rapid Robert was there with us.
He was there. Robert was there. Yeah.
So they were going to find a fourth for us, and they come over and warn us and said, this guy, he plays here a lot, but he's not very good. And we're like, okay, well, whatever. We're not that serious.
Sure.
Well, I mean, like by not good, he couldn't hit the ball.
Oh,
And
jeepers.
so we were about halfway done the first hole, and we thought, you know what, we're just going to leave this guy in our dust.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we ended up doing.
Yeah, but remember his comment, as I recall, you might be able to clean this comment up, but like, didn't he say something about, you'll have to forgive me, I just started new meds or something like there was something physically wrong with him that day.
It was very difficult, and we decided to take off, and then, the rest is history. I shot under par as per usual, and
Easy.
Yeah, no, that's true, actually, he did.
Those sorts of things are very, very, they're obviously awkward at the best of times. But I mean, if you've got a guy that, opening holes, it's a par 4 and this guy's hitting 9 into the green or so, at some point you do have to call it. No, like, I mean, etiquette aside or whatever, it's just, hi, no thanks, but no thanks. We're not, this guy's going to be on his own here by the end of the round.
Yeah, we both, Jordan and I just agree. We just said, hey, Rapid, we're just going to meet you in the parking lot after. And then we took off.
So, okay, we'll get into some specifics here. I did have a couple of golf questions for you because the PGA Championship has come and gone to much fanfare. And just a thought on, I thought maybe this was the time where a Canadian was going to win another major. Corey Connors, he played extremely well all the way through Saturday. He actually had 2-shot lead at one point.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, and then he started to wilter a little bit towards the end of the third round, and then just total dog effort in the
75
in the final
on
round.
Sunday. That's
Not great. Jodie, is Corey Connors though right now? I mean, is he our best opportunity at another major winner?
That's a good question. I think, one of the things that I've said over time, especially when it comes to Canadians on tour, is that there's that pressure. They've all faced it. Mike Weir obviously has seen success winning the Masters, but Graham Dillette, David Hearn, Stephen Ames, all these guys, and I'm missing obviously some, but they all feel that same thing, the weight of a nation. Like, and there aren't too many tournaments, especially the Canadian Open, where some commentator doesn't make that comment where they're like, do they feel the weight of the country on their shoulders? And I'm sure in their heads, if they they go back and listen to that, or they know, they're probably thinking to themselves, like, I wish these guys would just shut up about that. But I find that, a lot of them, they start to overthink it for sure. It's easy for me to say that. I'm not in their shoes, but Corey's a great player. One of the best. He's an amazing ball striker. I mean, the way he put the ball in play was unbelievable. Thursday through Saturday. Obviously, Sunday wasn't his best, and that shot he hit in 16 in the bunker there, and when it got embedded in the bank, I mean, you could just tell that was exactly the point where it's like I don't think he recovers from this. Ultimately, he didn't. But is he our best hope moving forward? I don't know. Mackenzie Hughes, Nick Taylor. I mean, those guys, they show up randomly. Adam Hadwin, same thing. I don't know. I think they're all kind of on the same level, to be honest.
Jodie, I'm curious to get your take on Brooks Koepka. This is somebody who's a little bit polarizing in the golfing community, and of course, whatever we talk about, PGA and LIV and all this stuff. But he's in a pretty elite company. I didn't realize only 19 golfers ever have won 5 majors, which is incredible. And some of the greatest golfers we know of are not even on that list when you think of players like Greg Norman and stuff. Brooks Koepka, he's got quite the career and still a lot in front of him. What do you make of his success at this point, and what do you make of him as one of the marquee attractions on the tour?
Well, there's no question he's one of the best, if not the best right now. I mean, there was a couple things that stood out to me watching through the week and hearing some of the comments too. And one that really stood out was, and you guys might have heard this as well, is when he had that Masters, he was leading out in the Masters going in the final round and ultimately ended up losing to Jon Rahm. But he made the comment where he was playing that one not to lose instead of playing it to win. And on Sunday, I don't think, was there anybody that thought that Brooks was going to lose? I mean, he looked like he was not going to be denied. And quite frankly, if he's going to play like that, and he's healed up, his injury's over, he has a lot of swagger, he's untouchable. I'd love to see him go. This is the type of thing where I'd love to see a match between him and Jon Rahm or something straight up, just some sort of thing because obviously matches with Tiger now are not really appealing to me anyway. But just some sort of brawl for it all between him and Rahm would be unbelievable.
Chatting with Jodie Jenkins, the golf guy here on the Capital PTBO Sports Show. So tell us a little bit about Endless Summer Golf Tournament. I read a little bit of an article that was done in inquinty.ca there off the hop. But so correct me if I'm wrong. This is year number 2. Take me back to the beginning. Where did this idea originally come from, and what made you want to kind of take it on?
Well, that's what your most recent comment is what makes you one of the best broadcasters in the world, because it's actually year number 7. But yeah. The reality is that I'll give you a pass, because the first 5 years it was known as the JT Classic, which was we involved pros. We had a pro-am, but we involved pros from various tours across North America, including mostly like PGA Tour Canada, Great Lakes Tour, Mackenzie Tour. We had some Epson Tour ladies that played one year. We did have some PGA guys, past PGA guys like David Moreland, Ian Leggett, John Mills, etc. But for 5 years we did that, and it kind of grew. It grew in size year after year. But we started it, myself and a friend named Tim Howard. We just wanted to. We love golf. Tim was in the golf business. I'm in the golf business to a certain degree, and we wanted to give back to the community. And we were tired of regular charity scrambles. Not to take anything away from them, because they serve a purpose, but it was like we wanted to do something unique that people didn't have a chance to do around here. And so we thought, let's do a pro-am. So we started with 20 teams the first year. We partnered up with raising funds for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and then from there it just took off. I think our biggest year was in second year of COVID during the pandemic. Maybe it was 21. I think we had 39 teams, 39 pros. And then last year I switched to long drivers. Tim wanted to take a break. I thought I'd carry it on. So I borrowed the name Endless Summer from an event of the same format in California, which has since renamed themselves. And ultimately what it is it's, a bunch of teams playing with long drivers. And the long drivers, what makes this one unique is that they are qualifying on 4 holes to see who will go into the championship finals that night, where they will compete for $50,000. The winner takes home $20,000, and we're going to crown a champion. But this year we have 48 teams, 240 golfers. It's by virtue of purse and strength of field, it is actually Canada's biggest long drive championship. So it's the national championship.
I'll bail out Mercier here, Jodie. I actually had it in my notes that this was the 7th year.
Oh yeah.
But and then that just goes. I mean, I do my homework. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Mercier's got a handicap in the notes.
Easy now. I don't think
he gets a 3-year cushion.
I'm not sure we're allowed to say that. Anyways, for me, Jodie, chicks dig the long ball, right? Like that's the famous Tom Glavine sort of. So
Yep.
I really love the idea of being able to mix that sort of long driver with the amateur player. My questions are more on the technical side because I find the long driving really to be, it's really surprising. Like you would think if you were a long driver that would automatically correlate at the pro level or even at the amateur level that, you know, if you're playing on average par fours that are 370 yards, you would think you'd be able to, aside from maybe, you know, a creek running in front of the green or strategically placed
Like
bunkers.
smoke it on there.
You think
Yeah.
you'd be able to stripe it within, you know, a few yards of getting to the dance floor type thing. Why is that the case that's not the case?
Yeah, it's a good question, and obviously it's something that people bring up all the time. And I mean, I think the only player that's really made, you know, hitting the long ball successful on any tour would be Happy Gilmore. He's probably seen the most success
That's
out of
true.
anybody that bombs the ball. But you know, if we're going to talk about reality, you know, I use a guy like Jamie Sadlowski, you know, Canadian long driver. He was one of the best in the world. He was the best in the world at the time. Won multiple championships, and he was a great golfer as well. And he has tried to translate that over to, you know, PGA events, Mackenzie Tour events. Just hasn't been able to make it happen. Not that he hasn't seen success to some level, but I'm sure it's not the success that he would want. He does have, you know, limited status on these tours, but, you know, using Jamie as the example, like, you know, he would say that, well, he has said before, like it's hard to gear back, right? When you're used to going full bore with a driver as an you know, obviously that's your weapon of choice in these long drive competitions. It's hard to gear back and get that feel. It's a totally different game. But yeah, there's multiple examples of individuals where it just hasn't carried over. So will someone do it at some point? Probably. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what'll happen there.
It is, because it is a staggering difference. I mean, in terms of long drive pros and the guys at the top of the PGA game, you know, in terms of average yardage and this sort of thing. And I can understand the you know, having to dial it back for, you know, a 6-iron or a 7-iron as opposed to. So in the long drive, if it's head speed and obviously there's, you know, technique and all these other sorts of things, do they restrict the equipment or the ball? Like, I guess maybe if you're at, you know, a long drive event, is everybody required to use the same ball? Can you use a different, like, non-PGA club heads or drivers? I mean, like, is that part of it?
No, yes, everyone uses the same ball. I can tell you, it's a World Long Drive, which is the governing authority of the world of long drive. The sport of long drive has a partnership with Bridgestone. They developed a ball that they use for all their events. I think it's called the E9. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's called the E9. But that stays uniform. Drivers, the length of a driver can be 48 inches. So that's the longest that you can have a driver. And from there, it's, you know, there's different heads. Obviously, they have to conform to USGA standards, but most of them are very low lofted. Shafts are going to be different. It's all about, you know, conditions, right? How these guys want to flight the ball and wind. And there actually is a science. It's not just as you know, it seems is it as basic as just stepping up and ripping at it? No, not really, because you get different dynamics, whether what you're hitting into, what the conditions are, what you need to do, where you are slotted in the grid. Because I know that most of the bigger events happen in Mesquite, Nevada there, and it's a huge grid, and they usually line up 4 guys at a time that go. Well, you know, if you're in slot 1 versus slot 4, and your ball flight is, you know, a big pull or a big hook or something, like, you have to alter where you're going on that grid. So there's a lot of a lot of different things that come into play. So it's quite. I've learned a lot about it over the last 3 years. It's quite fascinating, actually. I should mention this too, because I didn't. I know Jordan will probably ask other questions, but last year the winning drive at our event was a kid named Cody Billinghurst. He's Canadian. He won. He hit his drive was 418 yards.
Woo.
That was the winning.
Pretty impressive stuff. Talk about your vision of turning this into like an all-day thing with the nighttime concert. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's grown immensely. Like, I mean, I could talk about this for hours because I'm passionate about it. But in like, we have so starting on Wednesday, July 5th, we welcome, and we always auction the players off. We started that in year one. We thought it would be a cool thing. It just helped generate revenue for the charity as well. So, and players, teams get into it, and it's just grown too, where teams are like bidding on who they want to play with, and we're expecting some record numbers this year on some of the long drive guys, and we'll mention some of those coming up. But yeah, so on Wednesday, July the 5th, we welcome everybody for a pairing party / welcome reception. All the players are invited. And then we open up the gates because we're going to be having the concert with the CMA Ontario Award winners, the Abrams, who are very accomplished in the world of country and bluegrass. So that concert starts at 8 o'clock at night. And then on the Thursday, we actually have 2 shotgun tournaments. We have 24 teams going off at 8:30, and then we have another 24 teams going off at 1:30. And all day long, we have a live DJ, Jason Ferguson. I bring in a big stage. We've got bleachers this year. And one of the coolest things is, and I'm pretty proud of this too, is Sunbelt Equipment Rentals is actually bringing out, we met them on site, they're bringing out 20 generating light generating stations. The masts are like 30 feet high. They're going to line the sides of hole number 1 at Trillium, if you're familiar with it. I know you are, Jordan. And they're going to light it up, and we're going to be hitting the finals of the long drive are going to be under the lights that night. So we'll have the bleachers, the lights, and potentially about 50 to 60,000 mosquitoes. That's the problem, but we'll hopefully figure that out.
Do you need to buy tickets if you want to be in the audience for this, or how does that work?
Yeah, you do. So so Kyle Berkshire, who's the #1 long driver in the world, is coming to compete. We've got Colton Casto, who's a top 10 world long drive guy. Ryan Gregnall, amazing Canadian. Cody Billinghurst, Maurice Allen. There's going to be more names to come in the weeks to come as we get closer. But if people want to come and watch this, and I'll say this, honestly, in Peterborough, you made the point, Peterborough is about an hour 15 from Belleville, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. But you how often do you have the opportunity to see Kyle Berkshire as an example? You just wouldn't, because those events don't come around much, and B, you'd have to travel to go see events that he's at. So the drive is definitely worth it. $35 gets you a concert ticket, so you can come see the concert, and it also gets you into the long drive finals. So basically, you can either come to both, you can go to one, you can go to the other, it doesn't matter. But your $35 access gets you the concert and the long drive finals. And it's very easy to go find those tickets, abramstickets.com.
Jodie Jenkins, the golf guy, really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today, and best of luck. I'm going to try and make it down there on July the 5th. Maybe we'll go down and do a little back and forth. Mark, what do you think? That would be
sure,
kind of fun.
Yeah. Let's hit golf balls at each other.
Find that wedge.
Yeah, we'll find that wedge. That's right, Jodie. Jodie, thank you so much for stopping by, man. Really appreciate it, and best of luck with everything.
Yeah, thank you. And before I go, I just want to say congratulations on 15 years of this show. I know that you've worked very hard at it, so I wish you all the best in your next 15.
Jodie Jenkins, the ultimate ball breaker on the Capital PTBO.ca. It's going to be cool. It's going to be really cool. I had the opportunity to go and kind of check things out last year, and it's just a first-class operation. That's the best way to put it.
That sounds like it's certainly very unique. I mean, the long driver in with the amateur and the auction. I mean, that's a really cool aspect of it, because I guess, you kind of get to pick the talent that you want to play with, but you got to open the wallet too, and that's good.
Kyle Berkshire, the #1 long driver in the world. What do you think his longest drive ever is?
481.
Yeah, I'm going to say 466.
492.
Cheapers.
He's getting close, and that was last year. Getting close to 500 there.
I think that's the world record. The world record is like a 65-year-old guy. He went like 515 or something. We should have asked Jenkins when we had him on, but
Oh, I got the magic box.
I'm glad
Okay,
you
let's-
referenced Happy Gilmore, who, of course, won the 96 Waterbury Open.
Waterbury, yeah, that's right.
Longest in a professional game is 5:15.
Yeah.
Mike Austin in
Okay.
1974.
And he's like 60-something.
Yeah, something like that. I'll see if I can figure it out.
5:15.
That's crazy.
In the 70s, you would have been using steel and a wood head. Holy smokes.
First class operation, no doubt about it. And we thank Jodie Jenkins. Speaking of first class, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Peterborough Petes.
Let's go.
Where's the bottles?
Peterborough Petes.
Pop some champagne over here.
Oh,
We got to talk
kidding.
about this. And this could be the rest of the program.
Sure.
What an experience. What an experience on Sunday night for Game 6.
Yeah.
I was like one of thousands who was trying to get tickets who could not get tickets.
Sure.
Links breaking, people down there, a little bit of confusion, just a huge demand, and most people are not used to a huge demand.
Sure. Not at that level.
Not at that level. I'm tracking all day on StubHub. People are selling single tickets for $200, $210.
Right. Yeah.
I'm playing the game of like you would with scalpers, which is, you wait the closer to the event, maybe they'll panic, they'll lower dramatically.
Absolutely.
I get one down to about 105, and then just as I go to pull the trigger, someone else does.
Okay.
So now I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna miss it, and this sucks. But then I get a call from our good friend Dan Malta, a producer here locally in television,
Yeah.
and he says, I got one. Do you want it? And I said, yeah, I'll take it. So I left my wife and kids at Rogers Cove and literally took a Y drive right to
Let's go.
PMC.
Iron Dan.
And I'm in sandals. I'm in shorts.
Sure.
Like, I'm in no way like I'm going to a hockey game.
Right.
And yet I did have a Pete's polo on, so that saved me a little bit. But
We do got to talk about it. You got that ticket because I'm
Yeah.
the most superstitious man on the planet.
that's right. This is next level.
So
Tell
the
me.
Petes ended up going 10-1 on home ice in the OHL playoffs, and the only game they lost was Game 5 against North Bay, which I went
were
to.
there.
Yes.
The only home game I went to. So Dan Malta calls me. He goes, "Hey, I've got a ticket tonight. If you want to go, you have to sit with Katrina Squason." I said, "Thanks, but no thanks." And it's not Katrina. It's me. It's not me. It's not you. It's me. I was too superstitious. I didn't want to be held accountable if the Petes lost. So I said, call Mercier. And he called about 4 other people. Then he called
Yeah,
Mercier.
eventually I was about 8th on the list.
Hey.
But I don't care.
That's right. You got the call, big fella.
I got the call.
Yeah.
And it was one of the cooler sporting events that I've been to. I mean, the electricity in that building was awesome. It was kind of more nervous energy than
Yeah.
excitement, especially, London scores, and it's such a closely contested game.
Yeah.
Would have been more fun if it was 4-1, 5-1, and you
Oh,
had the
sure.
party in the third period. But
Yeah.
Well, that reminds
That
me.
didn't happen.
Game 7 of the Mann Cup was 9-9 going into the final frame,
Yeah.
and it was quiet in the Memorial Center until they started to score.
they used to refer to Edmonton as the city of champions. I mean, Peterborough's getting close.
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
mean, Man Cup success, OHL.
Yeah.
The
I just have-
OMHA under 16s.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just have to say once again how deeply sorry I am for doubting the plan. So many people came up to me and pitched me the head coach Rob Wilson was very consistent. General manager Mike Oak was very consistent. Look, we just want to get in the playoffs. We'll see where we slotted. And we believe that this team is going to be difficult to beat 4 out of 7 times.
Right.
And I'm sitting there with sports editor of the Peterborough Examiner, Mike Davies,
Mm-hmm.
and we're having supper before Game 1 against Sudbury. And we both talked, and we both came to the same conclusion. I've never seen a team that was that inconsistent just out of nowhere flip a switch and then go on a run.
Sure.
Like, I have no precedent to think that that was going to be the case, and neither did Mike. And Mike knows everything about everything.
Sure.
So we both were like, hey, this team could beat Sudbury, but then are they going to beat Ottawa and North Bay? And we were wrong.
Sure.
And happily, I was wrong, and
Yeah.
I would admit it. I was terribly wrong because this team started playing the way that we thought that they should, and, of course, the buy-in top to bottom, and they were able to weather the storm of some suspensions, some injuries.
Yeah, no kidding.
Michael Simpson we'll get to here in a second, winner of the Wayne Gretzky Trophy, and it just was such a cool thing to be a part of, and it had been 17 years. I didn't live here the last time that it did happen. Mark, you born and bred here, but I don't know, man. Like, what did you think watching it all come down?
The difference between the teams of yore and the team of today was that, like, I don't think people were wrong, aside from obviously, like, in a real life situation, the guys that worked inside that room, clearly believed in themselves. The difference with, like, 89 and 93 and 96 and even 06 to a certain degree was there was no This wasn't. They didn't bring the difference makers in. The teams were already a wagon. They're already leading the division by leaps and bounds. They were already 50-win hockey teams. Petes were 10th in the OHL. So not very often does the winner come from the middle of the pack overall in the entire league, which you'll see in the Memorial Cup. I mean, there's a first place, there's a fourth, and a third. So it's not like, you grab them from middle of the pack and away they went. Veteran leadership, certainly, which we talked about a lot of times. But I was also glad that we were wrong. I mean, there's a lot of people inside that organization. And, I mean, we point to Mike Oak and we point to Rob and, even the guys that are Derek Walzer and Werner and these guys that have been through the wars. But there's a lot of other people that are inside that organization that have been there, not for 17 years, but 16, 15, 12.
Yeah.
That have kind of, now they've come to the top of the mountain. And so it's good. It's a good story all around. And the community buy-in has been terrific. It's the talk of the town, and that's not lost on me, certainly, or I think a lot of people in Peterborough.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is Dave Pogue's last season as well.
Yes.
Don Sharp, Dave Pogue. I mean, these two
Not a bad
guys.
way to end, yeah.
Yeah, long
So Dave
serving.
Pogue, it's interesting. So he's the president. He speaks at the banquets, which was held before the start of the playoffs, and he reveals that this is indeed going to be his last time as president. And he left with a quote, and I think it's an exact quote, but if not, it's very sentiment, that I plan on going out as a champion. And that was sort of a rallying cry for everybody. And, man, that looks really good.
Right.
And for Dave, it was selfish. For me, I mean, I've been connected to Dave since I moved here 10 years ago. I've been very involved with the Friday Night Lights fundraiser, and we just built up this great rapport, great relationship. I was watching him. You mentioned Andrew Werner, who, again, has been on the staff since I came in.
Right.
And I got to know, not friends, but, personally, which was pretty cool. Mike Oak, same thing. And then Burton Lee in the front office. Those are four people that I just have immense amount of respect for, and I have this 10-year history with. So when the celebration was going on and everybody was raising the trophy, and I'm looking around and I'm like, these guys are just on cloud nine, and they're running around, they're hugging everybody, and it was just a really cool feeling.
Yeah.
Even if, my extent of being involved in the Peterborough Petes is I get to talk about them on the radio and interact with them and guests and all this kind of stuff. So it's not like I'm integral, but for some reason, for that moment, I was just proud to be connected in some way to the team.
You know what was cool? And I suffered with a cold all weekend, which is the reason why I didn't even think about going to Game 6 or going down to the community watch, because in this day and age, I mean, it's a bad look to be sneezing or whatever. So look,
very responsible of you.
Thank you very much. Also, the sandbaggers were just as cool at my house as they would have been in the sandbaggers zone. Okay. There's a couple of things like people feel like you're a good judge of character sometimes, or people think that they're a good judge of character, I should say.
Yep.
You're watching the guys parade around with the cup. You can read Wilson's lips when he says, "Has everybody else gotten it?" This is a guy every single time that he's always deferred. He's always, aside from maybe 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds after the final buzzer, he's smiling. Then you can tell he's kind of like not tired of the hugs until he gets to his family, but he's kind of like, okay, like
there's a sense of relief.
There's a sense, right? But I mean, not even that. It's not that he's not enjoyed it. It just feels like, to me, anyways, he feels like this isn't it. Like this is just it's the next step. This is the 4th series of 5, that we've got to play. And same with Mike. It wasn't down in, the players are all enjoying their thing. And maybe that's a thing with coaches and general managers. I don't know, because I've never watched one live, but I got to watch this one live, and in a way that, maybe they both understand that this isn't, this is great. We've gotten to the top of the mountain, but even Mike on radio and these sorts of things we've got one more. And so I thought that was pretty rad. Like that's staying true to, kind of the vibe they've put out, like that personality that this team's put out all year.
I am curious. Of course, we'll talk about the Memorial Cup, and if you are watching this, there's a chance that they've played at least their first game. So
Right.
we record this on Wednesday. So,
Right.
cut us a little bit of slack if we
Sure.
seem out of date.
Yeah.
But what would it mean for them to win the Memorial Cup? I mean, one of the things that Peterborough has is talking about the success of this team. The Memorial Cup, it's funny, I've sort of changed my relationship with the Memorial Cup. It's the ultimate national title, but it's also a short tournament. There's one knockout. Like, I would be, as a player, I feel like I would care more about the OHL Championship because of the journey to get there.
Yeah.
That being said, success is measured upon Memorial Cups. There's no
Yes.
doubt about it. It's a big stage. It's a good chance for you as a player to play on that big stage.
Mm-hmm.
1979, that's the only time.
Right.
That's it.
You're going to get a lot of history coming at you. Kamloops Blazers, I mean, in that early 90s window, wagon to go back to back to back. It was Kamloops, right? Now I'm second guessing.
Bring it up on the Magic
Yeah,
box.
was it? I think it is the Blazers.
You said early 90s?
Yeah, early 90s. I think they're like 90, 91, 92. They went 3 in a row.
I feel like the Generals won in 90.
Yeah, 90 was the Generals beat Kitchener. Spokane won 91. Kamloops won 92. Kamloops won 94, 95.
Okay. So 3 out of 4 years. Yep.
So you're going to get a lot of that. To understand, this is 103 years this tournament's going. Peterborough Petes have been in since 56. You've got 1 in 79. It's not for a lack of trying.
They've been there a lot.
You've been there. 79, you were there in 86. You were hosted it in 96.
Yep. 89, as you mentioned.
Yeah, 89.
Which takes me back to Rob Wilson, that he has this interesting piece of history as a sports figure in this city, as someone who played on the Petes and won a championship, and now he's coached the Petes to a championship.
Yeah.
I think when we reflect fondly upon his legacy, winning this championship changes the conversation, right? Because he wasn't a long time Pete. He was someone who was picked up and then was part of the team.
He was Sudbury Wolf.
Pretty cool to be in that category. I don't know how many people and players have done that, but the list can't be long.
And the other thing I think with the Memorial Cup is it's star-studded. There's a lot of junior kids here that you're gonna know that have played on the national level. A lot of kids that have played at the NHL level. In some respect, it's a great one, and I think leading into Simpson. This kid's the real deal. 29 or more saves in every game of the final, including 250-plussers.
I'm amazed at how much he can just shrug his shoulders to some bad goals.
Sure.
He didn't play perfect. There was a goal from the red line.
Yeah.
There was a couple ones that you just sort of scratched your head on where he just looked asleep in Game 5, which wasn't one of his stronger games. But it was almost like within the confines of that game, he would have these lapses and then immediately make highlight reel saves.
Right.
And the mental toughness to come back and be like, no, that's not going to define me, and that's not going to define this series. He was as in control in game number 6 as I've seen a junior goalie in a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was so impressive to watch. As someone sitting in the crowd, even when London was having power plays and creating a bunch of chances, you just felt like, no, he's honed in on everything. It's going to take a pretty special effort to get a puck by him.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what proved to be the difference.
It's a big event to have the guys blocking shots the way they did. McCoy blocked one that was certainly going to be a goal. Simpson, and it's hard. The goalies don't necessarily, if you're out of position, it's not necessarily that you were beat on the play. It's just you can't see the puck, you lose it for a split second, whatever. It gets redirected, however it works out. It is a team game, but I do like him as kind of being the dark horse for this. I won't want to say dark horse as an underdog, but in terms of he might be the guy that we rely on the most, and he might be up to the task for sure.
Peterborough Petes in the Memorial Cup, pretty cool stuff.
Let's go.
Let's transition to the professional ranks.
No,
Kyle-
hold on. I got one thing.
Whoa.
I need to see Patrick Waugh and Rob Wilson get into a scrap.
Who would win?
So bad.
Who'd win that fight? I had it here in my notes. Who'd win the fight?
Rob Wilson wipes the floor with him. Patrick Waugh's 57 now. I didn't realize he was that old.
But he's got that French-Canadian sort of, if he gets riled up.
Rob Wilson beat guys up in Britain for 10 years.
Yeah, I know, but British dudes.
Patrick is... I want to be on that chartered plane where they're all just sharing space.
Grizzled war stories with Rob.
That is great.
Sign me up.
We got to try and get Patrick. Can we get Patrick on?
Yeah, sure.
Transitioning to the professional ranks. Kyle Dubas last week we were saying, Dubas is probably safe. Maybe Sheldon Keefe is on his way out. Proved not to be the case. News broke on the Friday.
Yeah.
Kind of a strange Brendan Shanahan press conference that we can dig into a little bit, following a strange Kyle Dubas press conference to kind of kick off the week. And Brendan Shanahan was quoted as saying that, he formed his opinion on ending this relationship based on some of the responses that he heard, which kind of makes me scratch my... I'm not sure. There's a lot of jockeying going on. There's a lot of politics. Dubas has come out and said he's not going to detail what happened. Pittsburgh interested, which I believe I had a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You're the tried and true Leaf fan. Like, what's going on here? What should we be smelling with this whole thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't like the 9-year relationship between Shanahan, Dubas, and Toronto all hinges on a couple of answers from a Monday press conference where it's still very much raw for Kyle Dubas in terms of what his career aspirations are and this sort of thing. I can appreciate maybe Shanahan thinking, well, we need a guy in here that's going to be here to win it. He's got to be, you're either all in or you're all out. He doesn't strike me as that type of guy, but it is political too. Brendan's got to go to the board. And who knows, maybe Brendan is sitting as, a guy that doesn't have a long leash. But I don't believe that's going to be the problem. The statement Dubas released on Tuesday probably does clear the way for him. He's going to have a great interview in Pittsburgh, and it'll be his to lose. I mean, some of the other names here get no disrespect, but
he's still extremely high thought of.
You look at the tenure he had here in Toronto. He put there's a lot of highlights on that resume. So I can't have, and the other thing that I haven't heard anything about, and I'm sure it's out there, Sheldon Keefe, his bags must be packed. What GM's going to take over a coach? Have you seen it happen? I mean, very, very seldom does it happen. And that's going to be a hard part for Shanahan's not going to ask the next general manager, hey, listen, do you mind keeping our guy behind the bench? No, that's not going to happen.
As per Chris Johnston, Brendan Shanahan phoned each of the Leafs' top players to share the news about Dubas. Those players came away from those conversations under the belief that Shanahan's intentions are to bring back the entire core four. We talked about that.
I can get behind that, yeah.
Criticisms of Kyle Dubas.
Sure.
Sid Sixero, one of your all-time favorites.
I just pulled the tweet up.
All right, bring that to me.
Sid Sixero says Kyle Dubas, 1, paid a guy $11 million a year to play center who could no longer play center.
John Tavares.
2, gave Mitch Marner $10.9 million a year when Toronto had all the leverage. And 3, paid Matthews top dollar without getting an 8-year commitment. Please stop telling me he's a great GM.
Fair criticisms.
I think that you have to go back and you have to, it's easy, the revisionist history side of things, that's really simple to do. When you were screaming for a top-line centerman that don't grow on trees and you had a chance to bring home a hometown kid, okay, fine. Maybe Johnny T, you did overpay. Fine. He wasn't an old man at that point. He's still only 33, 32, whatever. Mitch, okay, fine. You're going to nickel and dime a guy that's got that kind of talent? Okay, fine. Show me a deal that's better. What Sid doesn't put on there is the $6 million Nylander 40 goals. He doesn't put that on there. And Austin, without getting the 8-year commitment out of Austin, he's a kid. He was 20 at the time or 21 at the time when he came out of the entry level deal. Like, what if Matthews isn't the guy you're going to hit your star to? I'm a big believer. I'd rather pay 2 or 3 years and then eat an 8 with a higher, average annual value than I am jumping in the deep end and seeing kids like
how many times have we seen teams get burned on that?
Oh my gosh!
Like the bridge contracts, I don't think they're a bad idea. It might cost you a little more in the long run.
Sure.
But it could also save you a lot of money.
Here's the other thing that I'm not going to hear any more of. The $40 million on 4 guys argument. The Carolina Panthers have $38 million wrapped up in 4 guys. It just looks better because they're on the verge of going to the Cup final? Fine. There's $37 million in Edmonton on 4 dudes. You want to trade? Okay, fine. Connor, Leon, Nuge, and Nurse. You want to eat? Or you want Matthews, Mitch, Johnny T, and Morgan Rielly? Don't give me $40 million on 4 guys again.
So what you're saying is it's routinely common.
$38 million. But Last month, if I had told you that, would you rather have Bobrovsky, Tkachuk, Barkov, or Montour versus the 4 in Toronto? Forget it. I would have got kicked off of community television.
Giving you the boot. I think my last note on Kyle Dubas is it's pretty difficult to implement a successful program, and we can cherry pick certain moves. I don't know if defense has ever been addressed the way it should. I don't know the goaltending's ever been addressed the way it should. But he put together a program that's winning 50 games a year for 100 points a year and getting a reasonable seed in the playoffs. Eventually, it comes down to the players just need to execute. But I did not hold Kyle Dubas hostage for that. Mano-a-mano challenge. We got to fly here.
Fly.
We're up against it.
If
today.
you take even 1 second, I'm going to buzz you.
All right, here we go.
6+ Stanley Cup rings.
Oh boy.
6+ Stanleys.
Oh.
Not many.
No.
15 people.
Yeah, maybe 20.
Wow.
Okay.
You want 1 or 2?
Yep.
Give me one.
Okay.
Jean Beliveau.
Yes.
Henri
10.
Richard.
Yes. 11.
Cornway.
Yes. 10.
Maurice Richard.
8.
Marcel Pronovost.
Yes. The most by somebody not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh boy.
9.
Now I'm in trouble. Boom Boom Geoffrion. Are they all Habs?
Yes. Well, no, but
This
yes.
guy's not a Hab. He is the most without being a Hab. Red Kelly.
Yes.
Ooh. I don't know if he has 6. Guy Lafleur?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Where would Guy be on this list? Not quite.
Yeah.
I gotta look
5?
up Guy.
He's got a 5.
I'm looking up Guy. I'm not cheating.
Yeah, Guy's got 5.
Mark Messier.
Yes.
Oh boy. Oh boy. It's getting ugly. No, he wasn't around long enough. Was he? Ken Dryden? Oh no.
Oh no! I don't think so.
Well, you want me to fly through trivia?
He's got
Here we
5
are.
too.
The problem with Kenny is he missed the 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Toe Blake.
Yes.
Oh boy. Gordie Howe?
Oh no!
Oh no!
When you've got to fly, just ask Latour.
Oh no!
Okay,
Gordy got 4 pretty early. And
He
then
did, and the
lost
early
in a few
50s,
game 7s and
early 50s Red Wings were a menace.
Yeah. Do you want to fact check that Ken Dryden? By the way, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's only 5.
See, I thought Kenny was 6, but then he missed the year he went to Cornell, I think.
73.
No, 78, I thought. See, it's tricky because you've got to think about, the Islanders for 4, but how many of those guys like Trottier
Yep.
on the list?
Absolutely. So if you want me to run through, Brian Trottier for sure.
Kevin
Because
Lowe.
he won with Pittsburgh too, right?
Oh,
Correct.
6 for Ken Dryden.
Oh,
We're
wait
back
a
in the
minute.
game.
Let's roll it back, baby. The Quizmaster gets a strike. I wasn't super confident about that. For some reason, he's not on this list. Otherwise, I'm just looking right through it.
Okay, well, then you've got the next up
Oh, we're
because I just
back.
gave you Trottier.
Doug Harvey.
Oh, look at it. And then he goes.
Doug Harvey.
He goes to Wikipedia and pulls it out.
I'm just thinking Habs now. I'm not trying anyone else.
Glenn Anderson?
Ooh, now I'm second guessing my list here.
No, Jordo.
Yes, Glenn Anderson.
Serge Savard.
Yes.
Back in the
Ooh,
game.
jeepers.
That's all I know. I got nothing else.
Guy Lapointe?
Yes. 6.
Steve Shutt.
Oh, no.
Now it's over.
I think shot. Boy, you got to double check that one. If we run this back, I didn't get as organized a list as I usually do, so I'm having to do some like real time. Steve shot 5 in 13 seasons.
Yes. On that list, is there another Maple Leaf? Like a 60s Maple Leaf? in
Yeah,
there?
Frank Mahovlich.
Oh, sure, the big M.
So you said Trottier, Larry Robinson, Jacques Laperriere, Dick Duff.
Dick
He
Duff.
won with both Montreal and Toronto. Ralph Backstrom, Larry Hillman, Dickie Moore, Tom Johnson, Jean-Guy Talbot,
Yeah.
Jacques Lemaire.
Mm.
Yep.
That's it. The top three are
Larry Robinson.
Yep.
Yeah, Big Bird.
Henri Richard, Jean Beliveau, and Yvonne Cornway.
I feel like Larry Hillman, I think he was the first to win on 3 different teams.
Mm.
Larry Hillman.
All right, that was fun. So that was our Mano y Mano challenge. 6+ rings. Not something you're going to see very often going forward. That's for sure.
We've never had to roll back the music. Like that's.
I feel like we should almost roll it back again.
That's
right
drama.
Here.
Oh, here we go.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's
Back, maybe.
Sure.
That's drama.
Speaking of drama, how about Game 2 of the A final of the Peterborough Table Hockey Association?
Yeah.
We've got brother versus brother.
And you, like we talked about last
Jim
week.
and Chad Maker.
Jim and Chad Maker. And you know that's a long and storied rivalry.
It absolutely is.
Game 1 was 2-0 Jim.
It was a close one.
It was a close affair, yeah. So we're going to be proud to bring you Game 2 action here. Jim and Chad live here on Capital PTBO Sports Show.
Let's do it. All right, here we are, Game 2 of the A final. We've got Jim leading 1-0 against Chad.
No.
I think what you'll notice, a little
Couple false
choppy
starts
start there.
Yep.
Yeah. Notice the speed on this again. Like you're just seeing it be ratcheted up a level.
I wish, and we will get back to the point of reacquiring a table hockey setup here in the store.
What happened to the other one?
We sold it to a customer.
Oh,
And
they use it in this league now?
no, I don't know if they even use it. They probably do. I hope they do because it's a lot of fun. But I mean, playing the game at this level, shooting the puck at this level, is really an eye opener as opposed to just the casual play that we're used to.
So you guys both have brothers.
Yeah.
You want to talk brother rivalries? I only had 2 sisters, and I'm better than them at everything. What was
wait
your
a minute.
guys'
Isn't your one sister like an Olympian level athlete?
better than them at everything? What was your guys' brother rivalries like?
Me and my brother, Jared, who does watch the show occasionally. He's based in Port Perry. It was very much Brett and Owen Hart. Like, we'd go at it just about everything. It's usually Madden football or 2K basketball for PS2. There was a lot of trash being talked.
For Justin and I, we played a lot of our hockey on the driveway or in the street.
Oh, yeah.
Justin would always play goal, and I would always light him up like Christmas time.
Oh, big goal there. Chad takes a 1-0 lead. First lead of the series for Chad.
We would also play NHL 94, and usually by the end, I'd have my goalie pulled just to give him a fighting chance. Those stories may or may not be true.
There's nothing quite like a brother-on-brother battle.
No, for sure. The asserts dominance. My brother's also 4 years younger than I am.
Right.
Yeah, it's just bullying at that point, right?
Yeah, that's what my mom would say.
Me and my
brother's
brother is, he's 2 years older in terms of birth year, but it's actually about 18 months. So we're like really close.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big rivalry. He's a bit bigger than I am, and now he's a police officer. So I don't mess with him as much as I used to.
Right. Where are we at in the game here? I feel like did we miss a goal?
Low scoring.
So 1-0 lead for Chad.
Still
Yeah.
1-0 Chad. Okay.
Yep, Jim needs to pick it up here. Jim's the prohibitive favorite. He was the number 1 seed throughout the entire season.
Yes, he was. I feel like once you get to this level, and then maybe we'll see it more as the series progresses, but goals seem harder to come by.
Yes, they do.
Whether it's, are they playing that much better defense? Is the goaltending? I feel like it's more the preventative, using your defenseman better as opposed to the goalie play. But you can tell just from the way that
There we go.
Jimmy's got one there now.
So you got 2?
Yeah, it looks like 2.
Oh, 2-1.
Maybe we did miss a goal.
Yeah.
Apologies.
The action's so fast and furious, it's hard to tell.
It's
really
it's
is.
interesting to see this because when I do like a one-timer in table hockey, it's an accident. Like
Sure.
I don't mean to do it at all.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, there we go. Tied game, tied at 2.
Tied
About
at
halfway
2.
through.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Getting back to that point of the one-timer. And I mean, even to be able to find the opening for the guy at center and then timing it just right. You do see a lot of guys that are just like they'll pull the centerman in very quickly as their shot as opposed to trying to flick it and get the guy to turn.
Jimmy just tacked one on.
Now we've got 3-2.
I think if you're Chad, you don't want to go down 2-0 against the prohibitive favorite.
It would be a difficult hill to climb
Have
here.
to climb out. Oh, 4-2.
Oh,
That one's from his own red line.
Yep.
That's Vesatoskala-esque.
starting to pull away here now. So what do we think? What do we in terms of? Oh, look at Jimmy now! Now you're showing off. He's showing off now. 5-2.
6-2. The wheels are coming off for Chad.
You think maybe this is part of Chad's ploy, though? Maybe this is the play.
To go down 7-2 late in the game.
7-2?
Well, no, maybe not to go down quite 7-2, but maybe gives Jimmy a false sense.
Playing some possum, go down.
Maybe,
2-0 in the
yeah.
series.
Laying in the
2-0.
weeds.
He might be. Jim
There
being
you
the
go.
home.
Oh, here it
See?
comes.
Jim's the home team. He's feeling good about himself. Chad thinking, okay, well, no problem. We'll mail this one in.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This final series happened just before Easter, correct?
Correct.
Do we think there was some smack talking at the Easter dinner table?
I would almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I would hope so, yeah.
And Chad's no jobber. He won this trophy back in 2006.
Correct.
Or
Another
something
goal.
like that. He's rallying back here.
What do we got here? Breaking the action. We're going to find some pucks. So
Yeah.
this is one of the, obviously doesn't translate well for TV, but when you do get these stoppages of play, the amount of pucks that fly out of, the playing surface or whatever, it happens quite often. So what do we think? Would you enter a capital PTBO team in here?
Ooh.
Peterborough Table Hockey Association
I
for a
know my-
solid B final?
I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. This would not be a game
This
I
is
would
not it.
excel at.
Okay.
But
Matty,
I would
what
do
you
it
think?
for pure comedy.
Sure.
We talked about a B final, a C final. Put me in the Z final. That's where I deserve. I am so terrible at this.
Okay.
Me and Mercier down there duking it out in like a 1-0
Oh, yeah.
half an hour long game.
And everything would be slow as molasses, like moving very slow.
And I'd be sweaty.
I wonder maybe
That's guaranteed.
maybe there's something to that. Maybe
The
just
sweat?
no, certainly not the sweat. Maybe the
slow
speed of the
pace.
game. Yeah, maybe you can bring it down to your level type thing, and maybe lull Jimmy to sleep with a 1-0er.
I don't think I could score a goal against either of these guys.
No.
No, but for the people that are watching it at home, and even for us.
Oh,
7-5.
See, Chad's starting to lay one on here now. Jimmy's maybe
3 unanswered goals.
he's starting to think in the back of his mind, jeepers, I don't know, he scored 7 and
This referee does like a high puck drop, eh?
Yeah.
Like way from the out of the screen.
Oh, there it
There
is.
you go.
7-5 final.
there it is.
Jeez. Well, we had a lot of fun, and of course, we will be keeping you up to date on what's going on at the Memorial Cup. We'll have some commentaries, maybe even emergency pod or two if something big happens in the development, but it should be an exciting time to be a Peterborough hockey fan, as per usual.
Absolutely. You're going to be able to see community watch parties too, so stay tuned on social media. Find out more information the night the Petes play.
You have been listening to the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production. You can always come and check us out at the Capital PTBO at 370 George Street North or online at thecapitalptbo.ca. For producer Matty and Mark Million, I'm Jordan Mercier. We will talk again next week.